Hello friends, today I shall discuss as to whether India was the mother of democracy. And I have taken this topic because while addressing the US Congress, the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, told the House that India was the mother of democracy.
In the evolution of the democratic spirit, India is the mother of democracy. Now, the US is the oldest and India the largest democracy. Our partnership augurs well for the future of democracy. Together, we shall give a better future to the world and a better world to the future.
We will discuss whether India was the mother of democracy or not. Long ago, the former Prime Minister Sri Morarji Desai also said that India was the cradle of democracy.
But people forget that democracy is more natural to India than any other country. Because there was democracy in India before any other country in the world ever dreamt of it. It is there in the Vedas, described so fully and so firmly how it is to be done.
My lesson plan includes why it is in the news, what is a democracy, what were the ancient republics that were prevalent in ancient India, was republics in ancient India were epitomes of democracy and democratic spirit, and finally we will arrive at the conclusion. So friends, let us start the proceedings. If you like my channel, please subscribe AJIS Academy Indore. You will get numerous videos on different topics from political science to Indian history, geography, Indian economy, mathematics and logical reasoning. Friends, now I am going to discuss as to whether India was the mother of democracy. Friends, let us discuss about democracy. According to the former US President Abraham Lincoln, democracy is a form of government by the people, for the people and of the people. And this is a universal definition of democracy. According to P.V. Shelley, democracy is a government in which everyone has a share. It means that everybody has a share in the governance and in the equitable distribution of resources of a country. According to United Nations Human Rights Commission, democracy means participation of people on the basis of adult suffrage, a respect for human rights, freedom of expression and thoughts, a pluralistic society based upon different party system. These are the important ingredients of a democratic setup. Friends, as you know that democracy evolved in recent time on account of two revolutions. One was American Revolution, which occurred in 1776, which gave the call for constitutionalism and the principle of the consent as the basis for governance. And second revolution, which occurred in 1789, and that was French Revolution, and it gave the fundamental principles of liberty, equality and fraternity. It also talked about popular sovereignty and universal manhood of suffrage. So these were the two important revolutions that revolutionized the concept of democracy. Now friends, I shall talk about republics of ancient India. As you know that our civilization started from Indus Valley civilization, which is also called Harappan civilization. But on account of our failure to decipher their scripts, we can't say with certitude as to what kind of government they followed. Some scholars opine that they were ruled or governed by a class of merchants, while other scholars are of the view that they were ruled by a class of priests, like we see in the case of Babylonia and Egypt. In the Vedic period, the king was hereditary, although his power was very much restricted by the existence of two powerful councils, Sabha and Samiti. Sabha was a council of elders, while Samiti was an elected body, and the king was bound to accept the advice of Samiti and Sabha. Moreover, the resources at the command of the king was very much restricted. He had to depend upon the voluntary gift of the people that was called Bali in those times. And so, king could not keep a standing army as we see in the age of Buddha. However, we can say that king was not elected, but he was selected, and the selection was based upon the hereditary principles. Friends, apart from the monarchical system of government in ancient India, there were certain ganas or sanghas which operated also in those times, particularly in the Tarai region, the Himalayan foothills and western India. Among these republics, the most important were Lichvis of Vaisali, Sakyas of Kapilvastu, from which the Buddha came, Malas of Pava, Malas of Kusinar, Kolia of Ramgram, Bhagya of Sun Samagri, the Morjas of Pipalivan, the Kalama of Suputa, Vidaya of Mithila. In the republics, the real power lay in the hands of tribal oligarchies. In the case of Lichvis of Vaisali, we know that 7,707 Raja or small kings sat in the moot hall that was called assemblies to discuss about the statecraft. These Raja had their own small army, they have their own separate storehouses, and sometimes they quarreled with one another, conflict arose among them. But as long as they have cordial relation among them, no other kings could vanquish them. When Ajatasattu tried to capture Lichvis of Vaisali, he could not succeed for 16 years, and so he sent his minister Vasakar to sow the seeds of division among the ranks of Raja, and finally Ajatasattu succeeded in dividing their strength, and therefore he vanquished Lichvis of Vaisali. In these republics, the participation of people was very much restricted and limited to those who were wealthy persons. For example, in the case of Western republics lying around the Vyas river, only those persons were entitled to be the members of republics who could send at least one elephant to Raja. Thus we see that in the republics of ancient India, the power was exercised by a few people, and the political power was not shared equally by people at large. It was basically a tribal oligarchy. The members of tribal oligarchies were not elected, but were selected on the basis of their popularity and on the basis of their social prestige. As long as they have cohesiveness and harmony in discharging their political functions, they could not be subdued by the rising power of Magadh. After the downfall of Mauryan Empire, several republics sprang up in the western India. These republics were Yodhyas, Madrakas, Malwas and Arjunayans. However, after some time, they were defeated by Sakas, Kusanas and finally by Guptas. And so we find that after the Gupta period, we do not have traces of republics in ancient India. The question was the republics of India were the epitomes of democracies? The answer is the emphatic no. These republics were tribal oligarchies, and the political participation in these republics were very much restricted and limited. Only wealthy class of people or having higher varnas could participate in deliberative bodies that was organized in a moot hall. There was no universal adult suffrage. It was a group of elites that monopolized power in these republics. So I finally conclude that the republics of ancient India from 5th century BC to 4th century AD were not democracies or proto-democracies, but basically they were tribal oligarchies. These republics were run by the high Varna Kshatriya, and membership was very much restricted to a few people. Brahmanas had no role in these republics. So it is wrong to say that India was the mother of democracy. The nationalist historians claim that India was the cradle of democracy to instill nationalistic feeling among people by showing them their glorious past, because we were suffering from foreign domination for the last 200 years, and it was an attempt to boost the morale of subjugated people. Friends, if you have any suggestion, please give us in the comment box. So whenever I will make another video, I will include your suggestion. Thank you very much.